All right, so today we've come down here to the Pascagoula River Environmental Trail. This includes 4 different trail areas, one of which is the Pascagoula Lighthouse, or the Lighthouse Park. Also, I think it was out on Round Island. So we're going to go ahead and check this area out. As you can see, it's nicely tucked underneath the overpass highway, which you drive in from the west side into Pascagoula, and then the lighthouse. You can see it right there on the right side of the highway as you're driving in. If you come down here, you'll drive around to the Lighthouse Park, and there they have parking areas for you to park and then get out and then wander around the park and see all the different areas. So we're going to take a look around and see what they have out here in the Pascagoula River Environmental Trail. So the Pascagoula River Basin is the largest and last unimpeded river system in the lower 48 states. The basin is approximately 64 miles long and 84 miles wide. That's 16,045 miles of rivers and streams down here in the South Mississippi. The Pascagoula River is the lifeblood of local communities. Hundreds of thousands of people use the vibrant, healthy river for fishing, hunting, and recreation. In the distant past, the Pascagoula Tribe, an inoffensive people known as bread eaters in their own language, had as their leader a dashing young chief, Altama. Altama fell in love with a beautiful princess, Enola, daughter of a Biloxi Chief. This created a romantic dilemma, as the Biloxi Chief had already arranged a marriage between Enola and a chieftain from her own tribe. In an act of defiance, Enola returned Altama's affections and fled to live with the Pascagoula, leading to a war between the 2 tribes. The Biloxi were of a fierce nature, not taking kindly to the affront. They proceeded to make their way upon their neighbors. The outcome was never in doubt. Near the end of the war, the Pascagoula Indians were outnumbered. Facing enslavement and death from the Biloxi tribe, the Pascagoula chose the latter. Marching hand in hand while singing their death chant, the entire tribe, men, women, and children, marched into the Pascagoula River and drowned. To this day, the river mourns their passing. Fishermen on the bayous of the river have heard the ghostly remainder of their song. Most commonly, the sound occurs in late summer and early fall. It is described as similar to the hum of a swarm of bees, gradually growing in intensity until it ceases as mysteriously as it began. The Pascagoula River is named after the tribe, a branch of the Choctaw Nation, living on its banks when discovered by the French in 1699. The first record of the river singing was in 1727 by the governor of Louisiana. Reports continue to this day. Maybe we can hear it as we take our little walk around. As the population of Pascagoula has grown, demand for active spaces and trails has grown as well. With the desire for more active lifestyles and the opportunity to transform the derelict space under the Pascagoula Bridge River, a concept for a park with an environmental education trail was set in motion. In 2011, Christian Prius Landscaping Architecture was retained to develop a master plan and vision for this project. The planning objectives were to create an accessible path for walkers and joggers, provide overlook points near the water, and connect with the surrounding network of pathways. The plan proposed all of those elements, as well as an outdoor classroom for teaching and public events. The design of the classroom utilizes stormwater pipes to showcase how stormwater affects our rivers and waterways. Vegetation native to the Pascagoula River watershed was used in the landscape to embrace a low-maintenance natural setting. Natural playground elements such as a large dragonfly, frog, cattail, and log were added as attractions for children to play, and relative to features they would see along the Pascagoula River. With limited funding for construction, the design team worked with the city to contract out portions of the project. The Urban Youth Corps team, under the direction of the city, worked tirelessly during the summer to install over 15,000 plants. Today, walkers and joggers frequent the trail, and residents often utilize the area for public events and outings. The Round Island Lighthouse was erected on the south side of Round Island in 1859. The lighthouse was constructed to warn ships of the dangerous shoals that extend south of the island. For 150 years, its fourth-order Fresnel lenses, visible for approximately 14 miles, served as a beacon for ships approaching the Pascagoula Harbor. Manned by keepers and fueled by oil for decades, the lighthouse was fully automated and subsequently decommissioned in 1944. It served as a day beacon for 10 more years. Hurricane George toppled the lighthouse in 1998, and Hurricane Katrina caused further damage in 2005. Community preservation efforts began in 1998, and the structure was relocated to the mainland in 2010. The lighthouse is now located in Pascagoula's western gateway, where it welcomes visitors to the city and reminds residents of Pascagoula's rich maritime history. The first lighthouse on Round Island was built in 1833 by Marshall Lincoln and David Henshaw. Its cost was $5,895 to build. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of money today, but back then it was a pretty substantial sum. Right? By 1855, the lighthouse was in disrepair, so in 1859, a new lighthouse was built for $7,130.79. From the original construction specifications, the lighthouse was to be constructed with laid brick, the tower to be round, the foundation to be laid as deep as may be necessary to make the whole fabric secure. Walls of the building of the dwelling house to be 12 inches thick, laid in lime, mortar, and whitewashed twice over. Right here before me are some of the original bricks that were used in the lighthouse when it was first erected. They've brought these pieces here to the park so that people could remember the history of this lighthouse and what it meant to the community. But here are the original bricks. It was destroyed during a hurricane, but they painstakingly brought the pieces back to this location, and we find them scattered throughout the park. A good bit of the original brick foundation was also used in the reconstruction of the lighthouse, but of course it had to be completely reconstructed. The lighthouse stood strong for 139 years until it was destroyed by Hurricane George in September of 1998. Later, the lighthouse remnants were repositioned and preserved by a constructed barrier known as a caisson. In August of 2005, Hurricane Katrina brought further damage to the relic structure and washed away much of the foundation, causing it to sink. The remaining pieces of the structure were then transported to their current location in Pascagoula in 2010. The original base has been integrated into the new lighthouse monument, and smaller broken pieces have been utilized as public art and monument signage in the lighthouse park itself. Of course, as we walk further down through the park, we come up to the location where you begin to be able to see the lighthouse. In this case, right across the highway that passes by it, which is Highway 90. When you come off the main bridge coming down, that is the first thing you see when you enter into Pascagoula. Sort of a welcoming beacon, a welcoming light. So we're going to go take a little walk over there, and we're going to close up look at the lighthouse. So one good thing also about being out here in the park is that when we wander through, they've got these wonderful benches you can sit on and relax. So definitely it's a nice break up underneath these beautiful oak trees with the lighthouse right here behind us that we can see and relax. Take a moment, take a break, take a little breather. I, for one, am thankful for the weather today being as cool as it is underneath the trees, and for the opportunity to have these great benches scattered throughout the park. As we approach the round lighthouse on this wonderfully paved little walkway with the brick border on it, that kind of is really nice that they've kept this place up as well as they have, and it's really a great place to come visit. If you get a chance to come down here and you're in Pascagoula and you're coming across the Highway 90 bridge, take about an hour. Take off, come out here, take a look at the lighthouse, look at the history, kind of remember where Pascagoula came from and the Gulf Coast community as a whole. So we're getting ready to go inside the lighthouse today, so you can imagine what was going on 150 years ago when the lighthouse keeper was out trying to maintain this lighthouse and keep the fire burning at night to make sure that the ships and mariners were all safe as they made passage through the Pascagoula Gulf Coast area.
Everything's done like it was back on the island before Katrina.
Wow.
Took care of it.
So all of this is sort of done exactly the original to what it was like
Yes.
back in the
Everything
day.
is
So
the same.
I could see someone getting kind of claustrophobic trying to enter into here, huh?
Oh, I know it. You can take your time and do whatever.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And enjoy.
So I'm beginning to make this walk up into the round lighthouse here in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It's not that bad. You get an opportunity to come here and you want to go in. It only costs $2 for you to be able to come in and take a look at the interior. Well, I tell you what, I can only imagine being out there in the heat, out on an island by yourself, trying to maintain this lighthouse. That it would be quite a chore and a task to do that, particularly if you're trying to maintain it and keep a fire going before they put the electrical light type systems in, and you were constantly having to make sure the kerosene lamp was burning, knowing that you were the only beacon to provide some type of safety and alert to the mariners that were coming into the coast where the shoals were, and that they were actually off the coast of Pascagoula and Biloxi. So as I'm making my way to the top, we come to a vertical ladder that I have to climb now. So let me get all the way to the top and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, here we go. Continuing our way up. It is straight up to get up in here. So we will continue. There is a little hand grab here to kind of help you as you get up here. But yeah, now I can see as I step up in here into the lighthouse, right next to the bulb. It still operates now. They operate it to this day. Of course, it has a whole different purpose now. It's sort of a memory. It definitely gets extremely hot up here. They have little vents on the side that look like the vents that they would use to allow some of the heat to get out. But I'm going to tell you, being up here right now, that is not the case. It's probably 100 degrees up here. There's a little latch here, I guess, where you could go outside. It looks like they got that pretty dogged off, so you can't really get out. But you do get a pretty good view, as you can see out behind me, of the bridge, Highway 90, as you come into Pascagoula and you pass by the lighthouse here. So here we are at the top of the round lighthouse in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And as I've noted, it is getting extremely hot up inside this top. So I'm going to go ahead and make my way back down and get out into some fresh air. But definitely an experience to kind of be up in here in a lighthouse that has symbolized the area for more than 150 years. Despite all of the adversities that it's faced, it's still a beacon that guides the heart and soul of the community right here in Pascagoula. So now we'll work our way down, back down the narrow spiraling staircase. Gotta watch your head. I think I just banged my head right there. They do have electricity in there, I can tell, because they got some lights on the wall, so that's a modern amenity. Okay, so we have survived the lighthouse, and of course I don't hear any of the singing along the river that we were talking about earlier, so I guess that's all good. I don't know if it would be a good thing or a bad thing to hear the singing along the river. I guess it could be a good thing, but it's definitely a tragic memory for the Pascagoula Tribe down here along the Pascagoula River, their namesake. So, round lighthouse here in Pascagoula. Right there behind me, we'll say goodbye and we'll catch you on another trip and talk about some other things in the area as well. Okay guys, so a really cool little afternoon trip to come down here to the lighthouse and check it out. You might want to try to catch it early in the morning or maybe later in the evenings when the temperatures cool down, because it is getting quite hot. But I hope you enjoyed watching what we did today and walking around checking out the lighthouse in Pascagoula. If you'd like to see more of this kind of thing, learn a little bit about the Gulf Coast and different areas of the world that I plan on trying to go to, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that little like button down there. It doesn't take a whole lot to do that. Just hit the subscribe and like. And I plan on continuing to put some more of these interesting little videos together on places that maybe not necessarily be known or as well documented as other historic places that you find around the world.